Hello, and welcome to the 55th episode of Chorus Place. I'm so glad you've chosen to join me for today's conversation. In today's episode, I'll be talking about the value of having true friendships in life and how special it is. As always, if you like what you hear, please leave a review and/or comments, follow my podcast, and tell your friends. Also, please follow the podcast page I've made on Facebook. If you'd like to contact me via email instead of a Facebook message, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org. If you are new here, welcome. I'm your host, Cora, and I'm so excited to have you on this journey with me. Today, I want to talk about true friendships and the value of having a true friend. Let's dive into it. To be honest, I was struggling for a while to come up with inspiration of what topics I wanted to cover on the podcast, but I was recently texting with a good friend of mine, recently as of the recording of this episode, and part of my text conversation with her actually made me think of this topic and next week's topic, meaning episode 56. I have had many friends in my life, and she is one of my longest friendships. I have other friendships that have remained through a lot of my life, or even a few that have lasted my whole life, but I feel like most of my friends are ones I've only had for a few years. Even some of my closest friendships are people who I haven't known as long. The quality of your friendships matters more than the quantity of friends you have. That is a lesson I have learned as I have gotten older and have even gone through friendship losses. Friendship losses are definitely very hard, but they do happen, unfortunately. I definitely don't like when they happen. When I've gone through them in the past, they have left me feeling hurt, sad, confused, angry, and lonely. If you are facing that, or if you know of someone who is facing this, I am so sorry. They are painful, and you are definitely not alone in this struggle. Even if you feel alone, please know that you are never alone. I can really only speak in terms of losing a friendship as of the recording of this episode, but I'm sure losing a relationship of boyfriend and girlfriend would be so hard too. Losing a friendship is so painful and is one of the hardest things I have ever gone through. I can think of 3 different times where that happened to me, and I think the hardest one was probably the third one, which happened in August 2020. That was also probably the one that took the longest to heal from too. I have discussed it some in at least one previous episode, so if you want to, you can go back and hear about it in episode 34. While it's great and special to have a true friendship with someone, it's also really important that you try and do that for someone else. What I mean by that is, it's okay to have a genuine friendship with someone, but it's also an important thing for you to be that kind of friend for someone as well. I know that it's not always easy or very practical in some situations to do that because of distance from your friend, your financial situation, or maybe something entirely different. To me, friendship is not really about how long you've known the person or how many friends you have, but about the quality of time you spend developing the friendships you do have and getting to know them individually. Maybe you could find out what their favorite snack or drink from a restaurant is and have it delivered to them. Another idea is to send an encouraging text or other message to them and let them know you are thinking of them. There is at least one example of friendship in the Bible that I can think of. That is the friendship of David and Jonathan in 1 Samuel 18. There may be more than that I'm not thinking of, but that is the first one that immediately comes to mind for me. If you have a favorite friendship story from the Bible that you'd like to share with me, you can feel free to let me know in a comment. True friendships are amazing, especially really deep ones. It can be hard to open up to people when you aren't very close to them. However, when you have a really deep friendship or relationship with someone, it can be easier to open up to them and even to share the more personal things going on in life. I have definitely seen that in my life. I don't have a lot of deep friendships, but as I said before, it does not matter about the quantity of your friendships, but the quality of them. The quality of your friendships is so important. You can have a lot of friends, but you cannot necessarily be close to all of them at the same time. It takes time and effort to develop really deep friendships. I only have a few close friends, but that is okay. While I would love to have more, I should honestly probably be spending more time developing the ones I do have right now. My friendships now look different than they did back when I was little, but not necessarily in a bad way. Some of the people I used to talk to or be friends with, I don't see or have contact with now, or at least not much contact with. Some of the friendships I grew up having, I still have now, as of the recording of this episode. I also tend to have more adult friends than people closer to my age. When I say adult friends, I mostly think of people maybe at least 5 to 10 years older than me, or so. I think I have always been that way, though. Even when I was younger, a lot of my friends were quite a bit older than me. I guess at least part of the reason for that is because I had found it easier to be friends with adults. It's not that I don't like having friends closer to my age, but when I was younger, I would get asked a lot by kids why I look the way I do because I had to have several surgeries when I was really little, and it actually kind of bothered me when people asked me that. Not like kids I know, but strangers. I still will sometimes get asked why I look the way I do, but it hasn't happened as much now that I'm older. Anyway, back to the topic. True friendships are incredible. They are rare, but it's always a wonderful thing to have in life. Friendships, even the really close ones, can have troubles though, but I don't want that to make you lose hope. It is possible to work through the issues. It may not always seem like it, but it can be possible when you try. Working through the issues in a friendship or relationship is so much better than just letting go of the friendship if you have a chance to work on it. Sometimes, you may not even be given a chance to work on it. In the friendship I discussed earlier in this episode, and also in episode 34, I wasn't really given a chance to fix things before that friendship ended. I do not mean this in a way to accuse the other person at all, though. I wish I had gotten the opportunity to fix things in that situation, but at the same time, I don't really see how I could have, since it ended kind of abruptly and I couldn't get in contact with them to fix it. If I could go back and do something different about it, I would. At the same time, though, that doesn't necessarily seem like the wisest option either. It was a very hard situation to go through, and one that I still struggle with at times as I record this in terms of emotions. I think the reason why, or at least part of the reason why, I still do, is because I grieved that situation for a long time. Grief is not something you can just have happen and then act like everything is fine again after it just happened. It takes time to work on it. I take a deeper dive into grief and loss in episode 37, plus a little, I guess, in episode 36 as well. Grief can hit at any time, and it can be very hard. Sometimes, it might even hurt just as much as when it first happened. Those moments are not fun to go through. If we aren't careful, our struggles can lead to depression and/or anxiety, which are both very hard to experience. If you are facing any of this right now, mental health struggles, grief, friendship losses, or anything like that, please reach out to me. I want to help you if I can, or even just direct you to someone who can help. I don't want you to walk alone. I want you to know that there are people who want to help you. However, the only way they can is if you tell them you need help. It is hard to ask for help sometimes, but asking for help is better than trying to solve everything on your own. I know I have said these things about getting help for mental health stuff or grief a lot in recent episodes, but I do not mean this at all in a way to be pushy. All I really mean by saying these things so frequently is that I want you to get the help you need if you are struggling. I care about those topics enough to want to help whoever I can. I know I'm not perfect, and I cannot be perfect until I reach heaven, but I think the world needs to work on talking about these things more. I am choosing to discuss them because I care about them, and because if I don't, I'm concerned that nobody else, or very few people, will actually share about these topics. Yes, it may be hard to discuss them sometimes, even for me, but I would rather talk about them than stay silent on them and people I love and care about not get the help they need. Even if you just have questions about faith or anything like that, please reach out to me. Like I said, I would love to talk to you or point you to someone who might be able to help better than I can sometimes. Talking to somebody about struggles can be scary, but it also really helps too. As I record this, I might not have experience in many subjects, like relationships, meaning between husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend, or different things like that, but I would still love to talk to you if you need someone. Even if you just need to vent. Please reach out if you'd like someone to talk to and pray with you. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please follow, leave a comment, and a review of my podcast if you haven't already, and please follow my podcast page on Facebook so you never miss an update. If you have any verses you'd like me to read on a future episode, or if you have any topics you'd like me to talk about, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org, or you can send me a message on my podcast page on Facebook through the link in the show notes, and I will get back to you when I can. Hope you tune in next week for the 56th episode.